Hello, friends. Welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the NIV, and we will be through the end of this year. We are in this video, we are in Leviticus chapter 7, and we're going to do all of chapter 7, which is verses 1 through 38. As a reminder, we are in the middle of learning what this portion, at least, of Mosaic law is. The same Mosaic law that we get to see, how it got to change and be disrupted and all that stuff at the time that Jesus is walking around. So it is by Mosaic law that the Messiah was convicted in the eyes of the Sadducees, right? And the Pharisees, the Sanhedrin makes up the Sadducees and the Pharisees. Sadducees don't believe in the soul; they believe in the law of man, which is what this is. Whereas for Pharisees, more like our priests, as we know them today, or our pastors and ministers like me, they absolutely believe in the soul. They tended to be popular amongst the people, and they were about, supposed to be about the coming of the Messiah. So most of them, when you're watching almost any movie or TV show, even about like, say, The Chosen. I love this, of course, the show Chosen. But if you're watching that, most of those people that you're actually getting to see that's actually in the Sanhedrin that we're talking about, they'd be more Pharisees than Sadducees. You can almost see, they show them in a divide, like on the show, one side of the room versus the other. And it really much would have been like that, where you sat in that room like any other political thing meant something to the alliances, because they're talking about running a country, even though they are under Roman occupation during that time. During this time, we're at the very beginning, and these laws are just getting established. So let's jump in. The guilt offering. These are the regulations for the guilt offering, which is most holy. The guilt offering is to be slaughtered in the place where the burnt offering is slaughtered, and its blood is to be sprinkled against the altar on all sides. All its fat shall be offered, the fat tail and the fat that covers the inner parts, both kidneys with the fat on them near the loins, and the covering of the liver, which is to be removed with the kidneys. The priest shall burn them on the altar as an offering made to the Lord by fire. It is a guilt offering. Any male in the priest's family may eat it, but it must be eaten in a holy place. It is most holy. Okay. The same law applies to both the sin offering and the guilt offering. They belong to the priest who makes atonement with them, so the one who does the work. You can't be like a priest hanging around waiting while someone else slaughters all the animals and then come in and collect all your meat. You get to take what you put in the in the work into the sacrifice. The priest, like that, put them all together. The priest who offers a burnt offering for anyone may keep its hide for himself. Okay. Every grain offering baked in an oven or cooked in a pan or in a griddle belongs to the priest who offers it, because they do have to bake some of it. And there's like a little pot off the side that they're supposed to put it in there. And every grain offering, whether mixed with oil or dry, belongs equally to all the sons of Aaron. So if it's a baked thing, it belongs to the person who offers it, like if they put in the labor or it was given to them that way. The grain, though, gets equally divided, because grain offerings are going to come in different frequencies. The fellowship offering. These are the regulations for a fellowship offering. A is traditionally a peace offering. A person may present to the Lord. If he offers it as an expression of thankfulness, then along with this thank offering, he is to offer cakes of bread made without yeast, mixed with oil, wafers made without yeast, spread with oil, and cakes of fine flour kneaded and mixed with oil. So the difference there would be the thickness of what is being made there, because the wafer is going to be spread thin with oil, spread with oil. Along with his fellowship offering of thanksgiving, he is to present the offering with cakes and bread made without yeast. He is to bring one of each kind of an offering, a contribution to the Lord. It belongs to this priest who sprinkles the blood of the fellowship offerings. The meat of the fellowship offerings of thanksgiving meal must be eaten on the day it is offered. He must leave none of it till morning. If, however, his offering is the result of a vow or is a free will offering, the sacrifice shall be eaten on the day he offers it, but anything left over may be eaten on the next day. Any meat of the sacrifice left over till the third day must be burnt up. Remember, there's no refrigeration or ice, or they're in the desert. Okay. If any meat of the fellowship offering is eaten on the third day, it will not be accepted. It will not be credited to the one who offered it, for it is impure. If the person who eats any of it will be held responsible. Meat that touches anything ceremonially unclean must not be eaten. It must be burnt up. As for other meat, anyone ceremonially clean may eat it. But if anyone is unclean, eats any meat of the fellowship offerings belonging to the Lord, the person must be cut off from his people. If anyone touches something unclean, whether human uncleanness or an unclean animal or any unclean detestable thing, and then eats any of the meat of the fellowship offering belonging to the Lord, that person must be cut off from his people. So this portion's right here, what they're talking about down here. This is part of actually falls into why Levitical priests eventually only will marry women within the Levitical tribe, not even any other tribe. And that is because they have spent their entire life eating this ceremonially clean. The priest needs to make sure his household, his wife, his children, they're all staying ceremonially clean. Otherwise, he's going to have to re-anoint himself every single day to go to work and do work. So there just needs to be no unclean things in the house, which means then you end up with children raised in a completely clean, like none of their ceremonial unclean environment, consuming no unceremonially clean food their entire existence. And it's about soul to soul, not body to body. So in their belief system, it is most holy, and they've been consuming holy food their whole life. Eating fat and blood, forbidden. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, do not eat any fat of cattle, sheep, or goats." Now, I know that it's a tasty part. I get that. But it's also the part that clogs our arteries. Okay? Not the only thing, mind you. There are other contributing factors. The fat of an animal found dead or torn by wild animals may be used for any other purpose, but you must not eat it. I.e., if you wanted to feed other animals with it. They don't necessarily care about that, but they don't want humans eating it because of contaminants, and you don't know how remember that we're back in the BC era. We have none of the modern things. There is no, they don't even know how often they're supposed to wash their skin. So you can just imagine the cleanliness practices of everything else, okay? Anyone who eats the fat of an animal from which an offering by fire fire is made to the Lord must be cut off from his people. So if you ate any fat, you were going to be booted out of the whole. You're on your own in the middle of the desert. And wherever you live, you must not eat the blood of any bird or animal. Well, it's a bird, you're definitely going to get salmonella poisoning. We know that. these days. So we're like, yeah, that's a good idea. In fact, there are other animals that they eat animals like that we don't eat, that if you were to do that, it would create a problem. Now, I personally also think that, there's the belief system that it makes one aggressive. And aggression is the opposite. It's not the complete opposite of love, but it's an opposite display from a love. It usually comes from frustration. It comes from woundings. It comes from, places you need to let the Lord in. If anyone eats blood, that person must be cut off from his people. The priest's share. The Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, anyone who brings a fellowship offering to the Lord is to bring part of it as his sacrifice to the Lord. With his own hands, he is to bring the offering made to the Lord by fire. He is to bring the fat together with the breast, wave the breast before the Lord as a wave offering. The priest shall burn the fat on the altar, but the breast belongs to Aaron and his sons. They get to take it home, but remember, they still have to, wave, thank you, Lord, for this, in order to be able to take it home. You are to give the right thigh of your fellowship offerings to the priest as a contribution. The sons of Aaron who offer the blood and the fat of the fellowship offering shall have the right thigh as his share. From the fellowship offerings of the Israelites, I have taken the breast that is waved and the thigh that is presented, and have given them to Aaron the priest and his sons as their regular share from the Israelites. This is because they're not going to be allowed to own land and do a bunch of other things. So they get this as a way of feeding themselves. This is the portion of the offering made to the Lord by fire that were allotted to Aaron and his sons on the day they were presented to serve the Lord as priests. On the day they were anointed, the Lord commanded the Israelites, give this to them as their regular share for generations to come. These then are the regulations for the burnt offering, the grain offering, the sin offering, the guilt offering, the ordination offering, and the fellowship offering, which the Lord gave Moses on Mount Sinai on the day he commanded the Israelites to bring their offerings to the Lord in the desert of Sinai. Okay. And before we sign off for this video, this is a good thing to we won't be able to do other things. There were 600,000 people that fled Egypt with them, that were all together. If you're trying to handle this, and there's I think at this time, there's he has 4 kids, 4 sons, 5 people, trying to be the priest for 600,000 people. It's a lot, especially since it has a manual thing that requires them to butcher things and sprinkle blood all over the place. Unless you have a very pure society where you have almost you can manage to go, I don't even know the probabilities of that many people being in one place in one group and nobody's sinning. Statistically, you're going to get a portion of them, and when it's that high of a number, you could be talking about thousands in a day. Especially if you think about it in today's world. Imagine if they had to do one of these things in today's world, what it would look like. I know you would think back then more, but the rules, look at the rules that they have. Till the next video, friends.